Hello, peeps. It's, what is it, February 1st, 10:12 a.m. I'm on here. Going to do some writing, some brainstorming. Hoping to get people in here to chat. Give me some prompts, maybe. I'm just going to post links here. Oops, that's not working. I got two different keyboards. One for the Mac, which I freaking hate. Can't stand Mac keyboard. And then I got the ergonomic giant keyboard that I have been using. This type of keyboard for the last 15 years. Helped stop me from getting carpal tunnel. Okay, there we go. Give me 1 second. If you're here and you're watching, you can click like if you want. I could use the subscribe, and then you can hit the notification bell so you get notified when I do this kind of thing or anytime I post a video. I do need to post some Q&A stuff soon for my patrons. I'm from my Patreon page. All right. That'll work. Ugh. No matter what light I use on this thing, I look whiter than I am. I'm a pretty white dude. Ghostly white, but not as white as I look on whenever I do podcasts and Final Guys and whatnot. I'm working on a choose your own adventure thing that I started for my patrons. Horrible idea. House book or something like that. Yeah, Tim Meyer did it with his, what is it? Club Paradise, or I can't remember what the name of this book is. The island thing Paradise Club. Okay. I think that was like a choose your own adventure that he wrote. I don't know if it was on his, I think it's on his Patreon page. I don't know if he has a Patreon page anymore, but he said it sucked. And it does suck. Because I mean, it's been cool because I've had the patrons make all kinds of decisions from the genre to, uh, not just like, you want to go through this door, this door. It's more than just that, but um, we're at about, how many words is this thing right now? It's reaching novelette length. It just passed the short story mark at 10,437 words. So I have no idea how long this thing's going to be. Probably not very long. I think I'm going to use it for an exclusive that you can only get through my Patreon page when all is said and done. And kind of like what I did with Spicy Constellation, those are a collection of stories, short stories that I did for my patrons. I think every story in Spicy Constellation was for patrons, and the stories I didn't dial them in. I love them all, um, and well, one's kind of I would call it a filler. Just didn't turn out as cool as I thought it would, but love the rest of them. Anyway, I made that paperback uh, like an exclusive for Patreons. Like if you own the paperback, you're either a really close friend of mine locally, or you are a patron or have been a patron. And then I offered paperback copies of Spicy Constellation, other recipes for, I think it was $15, signed uh, to all my patrons. And then yeah, so it's the only way you can get the paperback. It's not for sale. Technically, it's on for it is for sale on Amazon for $249. But my gosh, don't pay that. Come be a patron instead, and then let me know that you're interested in a signed copy. But there is a hardcover of Spicy. I can't remember how much that goes for. $17, $14. I don't know. I can't remember. But if you want the paperback, the OG, as the kids say, then that's got to be a patron. Although I will say I do like the hardcover cover. I like both covers, but hardcover it's pretty freaking sexy looking. So yeah, choose your own adventure. It's wild and zany. Starts out as a board game night where a group of friends, regular friends, come and meet up for game night, like this weekly thing that they do. And one of them can't show, so they need to find a replacement. So the guy who hosts it looks on Craigslist for a replacement. And the person who shows up as the replacement is less than ideal, turning the situation into something from something bizarre to something blood-soaked. And I'm about 11 chapters in right now. I'd love to tell you the whole story, so we can brainstorm together either in the chat or in the comments. But I can't do all that. This is the part of writing where I just kind of either pace the house or stare off and try to think of ideas. My son is downstairs playing his bass, practicing. Yesterday I had to fix this up. Hey Shelly, yeah, are you? How far are you in? Just like at the beginning, the end, the middle? I also use uh, the names of the people, the cast in the story I use patron names. I'm at the start of Act 3. Everything is falling apart as it should, but I'm struggling with how to put things back together, as you do. Being backed into a corner like that, though, can be fun. You desperately grasp for, I know exactly what you're talking about. It can be challenging, but man, when you get that perfect idea of where to go next, and you've got an ending in mind, then the words just come flying out, and things get really exciting. But that's kind of where I'm at too with this. I can't tell if it's a third act, or I could turn this into something that's way longer. But because I'm not having a lot of fun with it, I might just tighten it up and end it soon and keep it short, like a chapbook novelette. I hear ya. I know I've gotten characters out of scrapes before and nailed the landing on the ending, but man, every time the old imposter syndrome convinces me that I'm forgotten everything I know. Yeah, that'll probably never go away. That whole imposter syndrome, or just lacking confidence, at least. But gotta fight through it. Yeah, it'll come. It always does. Yeah, some of the stuff that some of that stuff just feels like a part of the process, part of every single process. Just like falling in love with the book, and then once you give it to someone to read, all of a sudden you think it was a huge mistake, and maybe it was the worst thing you've ever written, and it's just all part of the same old cycle. And you'll get through it, and you'll come up with something amazing that pleases you. Because this story isn't really something that I normally write, I don't know that I'm ever going to be truly happy with it. Um, it's not a book that I normally write stuff that I would read myself, that I would love to read, but this is not really like that. So, because of that, other people might like it, but me personally, I don't know that I'm going to like this particular one. Um, but I know some of the patrons are enjoying it, so, and because they're so involved with it, it makes it kind of special. Such a different experience, I bet. Getting feedback from patrons as you go, as opposed to waiting to get a novelette through the whole publishing process before it ever gets reader feedback. Yeah, the thing with this one though is we're writing it kind of together, because it's like I set it up as a choose your own adventure thing. So I set up polls where the patrons make decisions, and that I write write that out. So they chose the genre, and they chose some of the characters' actions, um, you know, some of the decisions and direction of the book, and because of that, it's just gone into this crazy, um, wild, uh, wild thing that I'm not in control of, I guess. Um, it's been challenging. It's been different. One of the most different writing things I've ever written, as far as the process goes. But yeah, kind of a collaboration. I mean, it's still limited. When I set up a poll, I give so many options. So I just know that I'll be writing one of, you know, four different options. They're all still they're all my ideas, but the direction that it's taking um, is set up by them. So it's kind of like I'm writing things on a piece of paper, throwing all of the pieces of paper in a hat, and then having someone else draw out of that hat. It's kind of like what it feels like, and then I have to go with that and write from there. So it's different. I think the only other thing that I've posted early, with the exception of some short stories for patrons, is the whole first Neon Owl book. They all got to read that before it was published. It was cool. Yeah, yeah. This definitely has changed the direction of it completely, because there are decisions that I was hoping for that they would take, directions that they would take it. They would have been easier to write, but then they didn't, so I had to write that. But it's been cool. I like doing stuff like that makes the whole Patreon experience feel more exclusive, and that they're getting something out of uh, for their support, other than just your normal kind of a thing. Hey, Brett, what's up, buddy? How you doing this morning, man? Doing pretty good. Just sitting here at work. How are you doing? I'm doing okay. I'm technically sitting here at work too, I guess. Uh, Working on something for my patrons, and a choose your own adventure type thing that we've been doing for months now. That I probably won't release to. It'll probably be Patreon exclusive. probably turn into a chat book or something, and then make it available only to patrons. I got a couple friends who have jobs. We tease, we you being at work and being able to be in here reminds me of these friends of mine who have, one guy has a job and he just, I mean, he pretty much he like does some kind of security stuff for the government, so he can work at home. He just has to have his laptop open, and if something happens, then he just has to contact the appropriate people and stuff. It's almost like being on call but never having to work. It's hilarious. So he gets paid decent money for it, but we always tease him that he doesn't really work. Tim Meyer has a job like that too, where he, especially after COVID, I think he does a lot of his work at home, if not all of it now. And he gets to sit there and just watch movies all day and be near the computer. That's the kind of job I want. Just turn off my brain. And not saying that's what your job is. It just reminded me of that. I work from home too, send lots of emails and work on spreadsheets all day. Do you have to answer the phone every now and then? That's cool. That sounds like a fun job, man, working from home. That's very cool. Hopefully that you, I, I've worked from home for the past, gosh, man, since like 2007, I think. And the job I had before that I worked for, I think I worked for 13 or 14 years. That um, you gotta, you have to discipline yourself, because no one's watching over you. So if you're slacking off or whatever, you got to really put yourself in check. And sometimes that can be hard. The thing with my job, I didn't have any set hours. I just had a certain amount of work that needed to be done, so I had all day to do it. And I would try not to procrastinate. That would just make things worse. So if I took most of the day off, then all of a sudden I had to cram all the work at night. That's no fun. Shelley says, my day job is teaching first aid and oil field safety courses, and it goes against every introvert bone in my body. I need a day to recover from people after a day course. So, do you do this like remotely, like through Zoom or something like that, Shelley? Since you're an introvert and I'm assuming that you have to talk to people face to face and do and present things. I I I think I'm an introvert, but I mean I think there's so many different types of introverts. Like I love hanging out with friends all night and doing stuff. But there are times where I get I I get I guess overstimulated and it does tire me out. Like if I'm doing sometimes if I'm doing a podcast and I have to act like I'm in a really good mood and smile and all that stuff, and I'm not in the mood to do that. I'm not unhappy. I'm not depressed. I just don't want to pretend to be overjoyed. Um, and I've done some podcasts where I'm kind of like that, and then after that, I get exhausted. Especially if I'm the one who's like entertaining, like if I'm the one doing the hosting the podcast. If I'm a guest, no problem. But if I'm the one who's supposed to be like the cheery, entertaining one, and people are looking at me for questions and get the conversation flowing or whatever, then it can be that's exhausting for me. I remember I've done a couple episodes of Paleo Cheese that were like 4 hours long, and afterwards I was just so, because the guests really like to talk, and I was just so exhausted. Through a bit of COVID, it was through Zoom a bit, all in person now. Yeah, if you're an introvert, I can understand that being taxing and you being exhausted when you're done. Brett says, I do have a set schedule. Otherwise, I'd probably do nothing all day and then cram it all in at once. I'm bad at procrastinating. Yeah, I hear you, man. I've been trying this year to stay away from that. I posted some journal entries on my Patreon page talking about that kind of thing and trying to encourage other people to stop their procrastinating, and too, because it can it cause a lot of unnecessary stress. It's like you think by procrastinating you are somehow making life easier, but you're really making life harder on yourself in the long run. I've been working from home for like 15 years. I don't think I could go back to an office job. Yeah, that would be depressing, wouldn't it? Just to go back to this grind of, yeah, like I would never want to go back to doing something like that either. I think it would just be because you've tasted like this freedom, and then now you go back to the jail cell. Shelly says, I hear you. Yeah, instructing is like that. Be engaging and supportive and entertaining. I can do it, but need to recharge after. I hear you. Plus, you probably get sick of hearing yourself talk. You probably have the same spiels, maybe some of the same jokes and stuff. And you have to pretend that you're saying it all for the first time, I guess. The main reason is that I'd had to wear pants to work again. Dude, I'm in my sweatpants right now, in my Phantasm sweats. I didn't sleep in them, but I put them on, man, because they're comfortable. And if I'm going to sit in my office all day and write and do graphic design, then I want to be comfortable. I find that as I get older and as I do this stuff, I wear jeans less and less. Where at one point in my life, you would not catch me dead wearing sweats. Shower every morning, get myself all looking good for the ladies. Yeah, I'm not like that anymore. Throw on a hat or put my hair in a ponytail and put my sweats on. Sometimes I have the same shirt on. I did sleep in the shirt. Oh my gosh. I'm excited for the new book you wrote with Bowden that was announced yesterday. Dude, we're really excited about that. That is one of the best things either one of us has done, and we can't wait for people to read it. Joe Meinhardt had sent me an email probably, I think it was in the summer sometime, and asked if I had anything because he loves the pale white so much. You know, Crystal Lake took the pale white. And he asked if I had anything else, and that if I did, just to send it directly to him and not wait for an open call or anything. And I said I didn't have anything finished, but I had something I'd been working on with John Bowden. And I pitched him the idea. And then, so John and I had been working on that for 3 years. And then when November rolled around, I pushed him I said, I'm doing NaNoWriMo. He doesn't do that, but I said, I'm doing NaNoWriMo. And I'm going to spread it out between a couple different projects, the 50,000 words. And so we got most of the book done in November. And then we just kept on trucking through December, through like the first couple of weeks of December, I think. Or no. All through December we wrote, but not as much as we had written in November. Anyway, we finished the book, sent it to Joe, cleaned it up as best as we could, and then sent it to Joe. And then I think Joe emailed me back maybe 3 weeks later or something. Totally loved the book, and wanted it for sure. So we negotiated the contract a little bit and then signed it. And I was bummed about the whole waiting thing, because if it were up to me, it would be out this spring. It's ready. I mean, it would just need some, beta readers and some editing, but we love it. Speaking of graphic design, did I hear you got a new tablet set up, or am I matching things? No, you did hear correctly. I spent almost $400 on a drawing tablet that is actually also a monitor, but it's big, 22-inch drawing tablet that I can draw right on with this pen. I think they're called pens. And I've been having fun with that, getting back to some artwork. John needs a job where he can spend more time writing. Dude, yes. John needs a different job, period. He makes decent money for what he's doing, but people are constantly calling in or getting sick or dying, and so then he has to cover, because he's like the manager there. He's like the big dude. So he thinks he might have a day off coming up. Nope. And then he's got to work like the next 2 or 3 weeks with no days off, and his hours are the worst. I think he gets up at like something like 2 in the morning or something like that. Has to be at work at 3. And then he works till like noon or something, and then takes a nap. Freaking, it's the worst. And I think maybe he works till 1. I don't know, but I hate his job. He does retail. He's a baker. He bakes all the donuts and stuff in a large grocery store. So he works like the bakery department, and he has to deal with a-holes all day long. But I don't think John would want to write all day. I think that he sometimes it feels like a waste of time for him, because he's tried hard to get his name out there, and it's not. I don't know. It's weird, man. A lot of it's luck, and I know that stresses him out that he can't write more, because in doing this, you got to kind of stay relevant, because book reviewers always kind of want the newest thing that everybody else is getting. So you always want to have new stuff coming out. And then, of course, John's got this curse where when he does get a book published, the publisher goes under. Happens all the time. The only time it has never happened is when him and I self-published Out Behind the Barn, which has done really well and continues to do really well, because some chick on YouTube that has 30 some thousand followers or subscribers. She read it, and for the last like maybe 4 to 6 months, Out Behind the Barn has been my biggest seller because of that girl's video. I don't know who the girl is, but man, ever since she posted that video, we sell a lot of copies of Out Behind the Barn. Bakery hours are the worst so early. Yeah. It's like those old commercials. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember, but I think they were Dunkin' Donuts, where the guy drags himself out of bed and he's like, "It's time to make the donuts." I used to work third shift in the dairy department at Walmart. I hated that job. Dude, third shift sucks anywhere. I worked third shift at a AFC home, an adult foster care home for mentally ill people. And it was an easy job, but it sucked. I mean, all I had to do was when I'd show up at work at 11 o'clock at night, all of the residents were already in bed. You know, people suffering from different degrees of schizophrenia and stuff. But it was in a house. It wasn't like a hospital. So, but still, they weren't able to like leave on their own, and they couldn't take care of themselves. So meals would have to be cooked for them, and meds handed out in the morning. And you just have to, in third shift, sometimes you have to do laundry, and you have to do like hourly bed checks. We just go around the house and making sure everybody is in bed and that they're not doing anything crazy. I've definitely got some stories working there for 2 years, but it was a cool job, and I didn't write at the time. And man, I wish I had that job now because I could write all night long. So I'd be killing two birds with one stone. I'd sit at work on the couch, do my hourly bed checks, pass out meds in the morning, and for the 8 hours that I'm there, just write as much as I want to. I think when I had that job, I would just watch TV, I would read, and I would bring my video game system that I have. But I wish I would have been writing then. Feels like a lot of wasted time. I have the same curse twice in 1 year now. Which publishers, Shelley? John has, man. Yeah, I can't remember which. He had Jedi Summer through Silver Shamrock, and that went under. And he had, I think there was another press. There was one that wasn't paying him. Jedi Summer has seen 4 different publishers, I think. And then he was just getting ready to send in a story to Thomas Monteleone, or however you pronounce his last name, because John has been in past Borderlands anthologies, they were well received, popular anthos, and had maybe some other plans in the future through Tom. And then if you guys have paid any attention to the drama lately, yeah, John is definitely not going to be working with Monteleone anymore. Yeah, so I joke with John sometimes not to submit where I'm submitting, and then there was some Stygian Sky, Death Set Press stuff going on for a while. We were both supposed to be published through there. That's smoothing out now that Jeremy Wagner is at the helm and making things right. But rocky start. Yeah, Silver Shamrock. That was crazy how fast that happened, and yeah, because that was a good publisher. They were making things happen. They reminded me a lot of Crystal Lake and Mythos and Inc. They were a really small fantasy publisher in Canada, so 4 out of 5 books published in the last few years didn't make it 1 year on the shelf, such as the way small pups. Yeah. I mean, I prefer self-publishing. The reason why John and I didn't self-publish The Bed Makers is mainly because I didn't want to deal with the math, the accounting parts of it. I already do it with Out Behind the Barn. I pay John royalties every month. And I send him all the stuff, but I just didn't want to add another book to that. And since Crystal Lake, had asked anyway about something, then I thought, well, maybe this will be good. I'll continue to be hybrid. I mean, I just put out 3 Smile Mile, self-pub that, but I do have a book coming out this spring through Dead Sky, and then Cemetery Dance in next January, and then The Bed Makers, Crystal Lake. But I'm sure that I will put out at least 1 or 2 self-pub stuff between now and January. I've got a few things that I'm working on that I have no interest in sending anywhere. I just don't like the marketing part of it, bugging people to be on their podcast or constantly posting things, trying to do Amazon ads. But it's still a lot more than some of these small publishers do. Some of them they put your book out, they pay for the editing, they pay for the cover, they give you a couple copies, your book gets out there, they make some posts, and that's the extent of it. They don't do squat for you. For some of these places don't. Brad, I saw you ask on Twitter about something about a book that really, that you really loved or whatever. I can't remember how you worded it, but what is yours that you've read in the past year that you just like floored you and you can't stop thinking about? I think the 3 best that I've read in the past, there's like maybe 4. Edward Lawrence, South of Here, really, really surprised me because I had read something of his before that I thought was okay, but South of Here, it's just the kind of book that I like. Wasp and the Ice Cream really surprised me. I mean, it didn't like absolutely floored me. I just really enjoyed it, and I get really happy when somebody asks me to blurb a book and it's actually really worth blurbing. That doesn't happen often, or so when it does, I get excited, and I'm very very happy to blurb. Um, Joe Lansdale's Cold in July was really, really good. These are all books that I read in the past like year. And then I just read a book I've been talking about called Hard Mountain Clay by C.W. Blackwell that you may have seen me posting about. Never heard of the guy, never heard of the book. It happened to come out the same day as 3 Smile Mile. Love that book, man. It is a great book. Another one in the past couple of years that took me by surprise and just that I loved every minute was um, The Secret Life of Bees by, I think her name is Sue Monk Kidd or something like that. I think it was a New York Times bestseller. Song of the Red Squire. I might have to check that out. Started watching the ice cream this morning, which I know you've been raving about for a while. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not a fan of the cover though. I got to be honest. I don't like the cover. Um, I probably shouldn't say that. Something about it bugs me. Maybe it's because I think that the story is so much better than the cover, but or that there's too much room of nothing on the cover. I don't know. I don't know. Nose Touch Press. Um, Hard Mountain Clay is from Shotgun Honey. So I went to their website to see kind of what they were doing. And then yesterday, when I asked people to recommend more of the same kind of thing, um, somebody recommended a couple of other Shotgun Honey books without me saying anything about Shotgun Honey. So I actually bought one of them. So I'm going to see what that press is about. And maybe they'd be a press that I would be, because they clearly do novellas. So, because this other one I bought, Hard Mountain Clay is a novella, and this other one I bought is a novella too. So, maybe I'll jump in bed with them one day, or try to. I've been meaning to read Wasp and the Ice Cream. Just read Break the Bodies, Haunt the Bones by Micah Dean Hicks. It was really cool. Different than anything I've read in a while. I think I have heard of that book title. I am not familiar with that author, though. Yeah, I read Wasp and the Ice Cream. Maybe, I guess I read it last year, like early last year, I think. I remember because I was sent uh, Hamlin Bird's Wayward Sons around the same time, asking for a blurb, and I was surprised that 2 books in a row. Um, Found myself very happy to offer a blurb. I think I have 3 or 4 on my Kindle right now that people asked to blurb, but I can't always. I'm not a fast reader like some of you guys are. Sorry, my wife popped in. I can't remember what I was talking about. Somebody cooked bacon. Uh, yeah, I don't have a clue what I was talking about. Blurbs, I think. Oh, yeah, I don't write or I don't read as fast as some of you people. It's not that I'm read slow. It's that I don't set enough time aside to read. And that sometimes when I do read, my mind wanders, and next thing you know, I'm on YouTube watching Faith No More videos or something. When I should be reading or writing or drawing. Bacon cures everything, including writer's block. Bacon is good. Bacon, even bacon bits are good. My kids make fun of me because I'm always trying to get them to like spruce something up. Like if they're like, "Oh, I'm hungry, but I don't want to eat this and I don't want to eat that," and I'm like, they're like, and I don't like this kind of mac and cheese, and I'm like, well, then spruce the mac and cheese up. Put bacon bits in it and sriracha or something. And bacon bits are like, bacon bits or cheese are like my go-to to spruce anything up and make it better than it was. And so my kids make fun of me for that. So now it's kind of a joke if they say, they could say something like, I don't like this kind of whatever milk. And I'll say, we'll put bacon bits in it. I heard a comedian once who said that bacon bits were the magic fairy dust of the food world because they make everything better, even salad. It's true. I think cheese does the same thing. You can put cheese on so many things. Except hot dogs for some reason. I don't like cheese on hot dogs. I like cheese on pretty much everything except for hot dogs. I don't know why that is. It's weird. I mean, it's not horrible. It's just I don't feel like it makes it better. Onions is what makes hot dogs better. All right, peeps, I'm out of here. I'm gonna get ready for some lunch. And thanks for hanging out, chatting. I'll probably leave this up, and I need to get back and work on this more of this crazy, nutty story. So you guys take care of yourselves and have a great day.